Out-of-school children refers to children who are of school age, but not attending school, which includes those who have never enrolled and those who have dropped out. Victor.
Indeed, and for many of them, they face significant challenges, which includes higher risk of child labor, abuse, and limited future opportunities. They are often in need of child protection services, by the way.
Well, causes for a child being out of school include poverty, parental failures, distance to school, and other issues. All these came into fore during the 69th meeting of the National Council on Education at Akure, Ondo State between Monday the 3rd to Friday 7th of November, with Education Minister Dr. Maruf Tunji Alausa in attendance.
Now, the event provided an avenue for the use of the National Policy on Almajiri Education with its implementation guidelines as a working document in all Almajiri schools and learning centers in states and the FCT to promote inclusivity.
Also for action is the conduct of regular professional development for teachers in nomadic schools to improve their knowledge, skills, competencies and practices towards recognition of the cultural values of the nomads in teaching and learning.
And that's not enough, not all that transpired at Demola. In addition, the need to develop the necessary support and resources for regular conduct of capacity building programs for Arabic and Islamic education teachers was also emphasized. And it's on this note that I welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria. It's Thursday edition, and I am Victor, as welcome.
And I'm Ademola Adeoye. Thank you for joining us this Thursday morning. We are live from Abuja, the nation's capital. Shortly, we will join Chineye Nwoye for highlights of the morning news, and much later, newspaper review with Chukwudi Okoli Ugbaja. Let's now join Chineye.
It is believed that a child has a right to education. This encompasses both entitlements and freedoms, which includes the right to free and compulsory primary education, right to available and accessible secondary education, including technical and vocational education, as well as training. But despite this, the country keeps recording cases of out-of-school children. In 2023, UNESCO reveals that the number of out-of-school children is about 20 million. And this has been described globally as children in the official primary school age, ranging from 6 to 11 years, who are not enrolled in either primary or secondary schools. At present, the world faces unprecedented education crisis based on a UNESCO 2021 report, which says 258 million children that are out of school globally are mostly in sub-Saharan Africa. The incidences of terrorism and insecurity in general increased the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria by 530,000 children, with the majority of them located in the northern part of the country, which has also suffered the most due to the effects of climate change. Other factors like poverty, ignorance, gender inequality, religious and cultural influences also gave rise to circumstances which made parents to withdraw their wards from schools. Experts say the interventions of government at all levels to reduce the number of out-of-school children are yielding positive results, even though it is not as fast as expected. In a renewed effort to tackle the challenges posed by out-of-school children in the country, the Universal Basic Education Commission some time ago deployed the World Bank-sponsored Better Education Service Delivery for All, a strategy to reduce the number to the barest minimum. It also embarked on plans to deploy and strengthen the early childhood care development and education strategy to tackle the menace aside homegrown school feeding programs. This is believed to be a way of retaining students in schools with the goal of being able to recover 70% of children who have dropped out of school. Experts as well believed that the country would need to increase its budgetary allocation for education while empowering stakeholders in the basic education level at both federal and state level. But how ready are the governments in this? Also, what are the roles of development partners in ensuring the reduction or an end of the out-of-school children in the country? Our guests, already seated in the studio, will be talking about these and more shortly.
All right, many thanks, Oyeyemi Ajayi, for that background report. And to begin our conversation on tackling out-of-school children, let me welcome here in the studio Professor Musa Garba Metafsir, who is Executive Secretary, National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Non-Formal Education. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you.
All right, let me also welcome Comrade Dave Omang, who is Team Lead of Edu Radio, Alliance of Civil Society. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right. Also joining us in the studio is Nura Mohammed. Is the Head Social Mobilization and Outreach Spokesman, National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children Education. You are welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. All right, let's kickstart our conversation on this tackling out-of-school children in Nigeria. Can you, let's go over it again. What are the reasons, actually? What are the challenges? Why do we have so huge number of out-of-school children?
Good morning, Nigerian.
Yeah.
Let me go back to the olden days when I was the SUBEB chairman in Sokoto State. We conducted a research to find out some of the reasons why we have out-of-school children in our society. This came as a result of renovation of schools that took place then in Sokoto State.
Okay.
We renovated schools, but when we went round, there were no pupils.
Mm-hmm.
There was a village where we renovated a whole school approach. We renovated almost everything in that school. It was a primary and junior secondary school. But when we went there, there was nobody, no child in that school but the teachers. So I went back to the office. I got my people. I asked them, what's the reason? They said they've tried this, they did this, but no success.
Okay.
I said, okay, let's conduct a research and find out why. So the outcome of that research indicated some factors. One is poverty. Because we asked, where are the children? The parents said, some are in Ngusau, some are in Zaria. Then the research indicated a family of husband and wife with, let's say, 5 children, without food to eat for 3 months in a year. The only way they can manage it is to send those that can afford going out to go and look for what to eat. And to manage the wife and the small children that cook. That's one. Number 2 is the interest of memorizing the Holy Quran is another thing. If the children would be at home, then they will not have the, according to them, they will not have the, let's say, the ability to concentrate on the memorization of the Quran. Number 3 is having nothing doing.
So they send them to the Quranic school?
So they send it to Al-Majiri schools in all over the places. Number 3 is lack of something doing during the dry season in our villages.
Okay.
That's the reason why immediately it starts raining, you look for those Almajiri boys in some places, you not find them. They've gone back to their villages because they've started farming activities, grass selling, then they will go back to their villages. These are the three things. So what we did to see, to change that narratives, during that time, the governor was giving us running costs enough because he was giving us 10 million every month.
Wow.
So we use part of that money to discuss with the parents that if we can provide breakfast feeding to the children, can we bring back your children from Gusau and other places? They said yes. I said, okay, we are coming tomorrow. The following day, we bought bread, these small loaves of bread, 10 naira, and sachet of pure water. Where we found 7 pupils, we give them bread and water. Somewhere 19, we give them bread and water. Then we told them we'll be coming back. By the time we went back the following day, the classes were full.
They told the others.
They told others. The classes were full. So because of that, we said, okay, this is the solution to that problem. Let's take 5 schools in 5 villages to see what will happen. Then we went there, we called the parents, the teachers, everybody. This is what we are bringing. We'll bring you the raw food, just rice and beans and oil. That's all. The following day, masa, and then what we needed to feed a child was just 25 naira.
Wow.
We bought the food, we submitted. Then we said, okay, this is food from the primary board. Now your responsibility is to cook the food and bring it to the school and divide. I'm telling you, the enrollment, we had to send some children back until another year. So this research has shown us that if there is proper care to the less privileged, definitely this thing will be reduced to the minimum.
In other words, you are citing poverty as a major
as one of the factors.
All right.
Exactly.
Thank you. Comrade, now you work closely with grassroots communities.
Yeah.
What are you hearing from the field? Is it the same as what Prof is saying?
Thank you very much. It's a great privilege to be seated beside my prof here, and Mauga at the top, and Mauga here. I'd worked closely with him. And it's unfortunate. What Prof said is just there. We have this, this myth about Western education. We have this thing about socio-cultural. We have this thing about religion. We have this thing about economic, just like he has analyzed. And we have the general perception. And we have insecurity that's hindered, that's made people from a particular community to either migrate or move from one particular place and not being able to go to schools. I was privileged to work with, as part of sensitization with the Almajiri Commission, that the commission sent us to certain locations as a pilot. And I was privileged to be in Cross River State, and I went to so many locations, Fisher Folks, within the riverine areas and all of that. Poverty is a crime. I tell you frankly, I went to a location that I wept. I physically wept because there were 6 children. The woman said, what is education? That all she's looking for right now is to feed. And as she is right now, if she can't feed these children, how are they going to go to school? What she does is to weed. If she doesn't weed grass, of course, she can't feed the children. The second thing is proximity to schools. Some of the schools are not there. The few available ones are either too far away from the children. And in this era of insecurity, most parents want to be very mindful of where their children goes to. So distance to where some of these places are. Then the third is the very unfortunate state of some schools within some of those communities. I tell you frankly, I went to one of the primary schools. They were learning outside on that tree, whereas now they said the rooftop of the school was blown away sometimes about 7 years ago. And the most important thing, as part of the report, was, look, some had schools, they couldn't go to school. Some couldn't go to school because of so many, among the reasons I had mentioned. And here you are. Either the distance is too far from you, or there's problem of how to eat first before going to school, and all of that. Now, it is very obvious, it is clear that poverty is a problem. And then I said one thing, what do we do? Get schools close to us. Whatever, we'll look for something to give to our children to go to schools. Just like Prof said again, there must be a sort of incentivization to give children, to lure them, to bring them close. And when parents understand that, okay, this will help ameliorate their stress of economic hardship, these children at least will take one meal during the morning class hour. The children, they'll send their children because they have confidence that what they're going to come up with will be greater and better.
Is this across the country, or there are particular zones where this is prevalent?
Well, I'm talking with particular reference to where I went to.
Okay.
So, and it was poverty was glaring.
Where did you go to?
I went to Cross River State, I went to Akbabuyo, I went to Bakassi, I went to Itu, I went to Akampa, I went to Udukbani, I went to Calabar Municipality. And don't forget...
The South.
Right? South. Even those children within the municipality, some of the schools were either overcrowded.
Okay.
Now, there must be a drastic step to actually take population into cognizance. You know, we have this astronomical increase in the population without a corresponding increase in infrastructure.
All right. Okay, comrade. We're going to talk about those providing solutions to the challenges that we're tackling. Let's bring in Nura now, who is the head social mobilization outreach spokesman, National Commission for Al-Majiri. I mean, some of the challenges have been highlighted, like poverty and economic factors, cultural and social factors, and insecurity. And conflict in some areas, lack of infrastructure. What about government policy? I mean, from your own perspective and from the research that you have carried out, especially with the Al-Majiri schools, what is your perspective?
Thank you very much. It's pertinent we first have an understanding of what our commission is all about. It is a creation of an act of parliament. It came into being at the twilight of the Buhari administration in 2023. And the reason is to cater to the needs of the millions of Al-Majiri and out-of-school children in the country, provide a multimodal system of education where we have skills acquisition and the like. Now, it's very important we make it clear that there is a difference between Al-Majiri and out-of-school children. The Al-Majiri are not out of school, absolutely. They have a school where they learn the Quran and perhaps other Islamic subjects. They have a teacher, they have a curriculum, which they use in acquiring the Quranic knowledge they pursue. The out of school also in different parts of the country. We have them in the north, we have them in the south as well. They don't have any school. They go to, unlike the Al-Majiri that have a school where they acquire knowledge.
Just a moment. They don't have any school they go to, or they don't just want to go to the school. Is it that the schools are not available, or they don't go to school?
Yeah, there are instances, like you mean the out of school, right?
Yes,
They are
because you
marginally-
said they don't have any school to go to. That's the
No, I
point
mean
I'm trying to
the
clear.
out of school. Al-Majri have a school.
Yeah, they're out of school.
The out of school.
They don't have schools at all, or they don't want to.
There are people. The factors that have just been highlighted by my colleagues here. Some of them do not go to school because of poverty. I don't need to repeat all the circumstances that surround they are not going to school. One important thing. I'm happy neither of them mentioned insecurity, because the research we conducted at the National Commission for Al-Majiri and Out-of-School Children's Education suggests that insecurity constitutes just about 5% of the inability of the children to go to school. Most of the reason is as a result of poverty. They don't have money, and the parents perhaps allow the children to go hawking and engage in other menial jobs with a view to earn a living. So we at the National Commission for Al-Majiri and Out-of-School Children are doing all we can to make sure that we stem this particular tide. It is a big problem. Our Executive Secretary, Dr. Muhammad Sani Idris, upon assumption of duty last year, set the ball rolling, and being an educationist of about 4 decades, he knows what the problem is, and he is also an Al-Majiri himself. He passed through the Al-Majiri school, so he's very much familiar with the terrain. We kick-started with a massive advocacy. We went to different parts of the country, north and south, and the reason for that was to seek the buy-in of the different stakeholders, because we don't think we know it all. That is what my boss usually says. You have to seek the support of the different stakeholders in education in order to curb the menace of Al-Majiri, reform it, and of course out-of-school children, see how they will be enrolled in school. We went to the Oba of Lagos. I remember we went to the Oni of Ife. We went to the Olubadan, and we visited the different branches of the Christian Association of Nigeria in the southern part of the country. We also came to the north. We visited the Sultan of Sokoto, the Shehu of Borno, and other prominent religious leaders. The Sheikh Dahiru Usman Bauchi, a very prominent Islamic scholar, under whom most of those who are into this kind of system of education are. And we're happy he, at that time, publicly endorsed the infusion of Western education into the curriculum of Al-Majiri. And I'm happy we, little by little, solving the problem. And that's the situation at the moment.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. I just wanted to find out, your commission was created to help absorb out-of-school children, to take children off the streets.
That's right.
So where are we with implementation, for instance?
Yes, as I said, after this particular massive advocacy, we came up with a retreat, a dual retreat, one on Al-Majiri, on the other on out-of-school children. We were hosted by the National Security Advisor. We brought together very important personalities, the academia, the prominent religious leaders, the civil society, and they came up with a master plan, a strategic master plan, 2025 to 2035, which we would use in order to ensure that in the next 10 years this problem is solved and we don't have out-of-school children, and we reform the Al-Majiri system of education. We, at the moment, have about more than 100 learning centers. We carried out a massive mapping of out-of-school children a couple of weeks. It ended a couple of weeks ago, and we were able to map 700,000 out-of-school children in the country. And we took their data. A lot of the factors responsible for their not going to school have been highlighted here. And as I said, just 5% of that reason was just insecurity. So we have learning centers in different parts of the country, okay, where children, they are not conventional schools. You just find a class, a mosque, a church, an open place, and the children are being taught. We can't wait for schools to be built. We can't wait for teachers, competent teachers, to be employed to teach.
What has become of the schools, the Almajiri schools built by the Jonathan administration? Because I know that became a big thing for that administration.
Yes, we're trying to see how we'll have custody of those schools. Some of those schools have been utilized by the different states where they are located. So
for different purposes, other than for which they were built?
No, they have they have centers where the Almajiri have been taught, and some have converted them perhaps to normal schools, not necessarily the Almajiri schools, and they're being utilized. So what we're doing is to see, since there is a commission now, to see how we'll have those schools, collect them and put them to good use as time goes on.
All right, thank you very much, Nura. Let's come back to Prof now. Prof, you are the Executive Secretary, National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Formal Education. What exactly are the programs of your commission as regards to addressing the issue of out of school children? In particular, do you have government policies and programs to address these issues, and are they being implemented?
Yes, there are government programs that are postulated to address the issue of out-of-school children. But the mandate specification of NMEC is 15 and above. And this age group are the real problems of our society.
15 and above? 15
and above.
What about those maybe from 6 to 15?
Yeah, 6 to 15 belongs to Almajiri school. Oh. But in psychology they say the responsible adult you see today must have been the well-trained child of the past. And the irresponsible adult of today must be the short-trained child of the past. So the Almajiri school will have to lay the foundation. After laying that foundation, then back to NMEC. NMEC, if properly handled, then this issue of insecurity will definitely be reduced. This issue of not knowing what to do as an adult will also be reduced. So the framework of an NMEC is to reorient the thinking of these transient children from childhood to adulthood to be responsible adults. So when you look at our society today, the inability of handling this group of people is what is bringing the problem we are facing, either in urban areas or rural, either among the illiterate or illiterate. When you look at the situation we are in today in Nigeria, the people you see as illiterate with bunch of certificates, when you go deep, you find out that they are also illiterate. Because some of us as adults, we are one-sided. Just imagine. Think of anybody that is retiring next year. Go close, very close to him and discuss. The first thing he will tell you that if I will have contract somewhere, after spending 35 years with first degree, master's and PhD, yet after 35 years, he doesn't know where to go tomorrow after retirement. So NMEC, if properly handled, will definitely address this issue. As I told my friend, I came back to Nigeria not because I wanted to come back to Nigeria. But I came back to Nigeria because of just one program I took part in Beijing in 1999. So after that program, I said, if I have something to offer to this environment, why not back to my country? It was in October. By end of December, I came back to Nigeria. And that program is, I was invited first by the Gansu Institute of Educational Technology to work on functional literacy for minority groups.
Okay.
After that program, then 9 of us were invited to come and design a guidebook on functional literacy for minority groups in China in 1999. So when I went there, I was thinking of adult education that we have in Nigeria, where you find someone 50 years, 60 years teaching him A, B, C, D, Baba, what. Their own is not like that. When you teach them A, B, C, D, how to write, how to read, but 60% of what you teach in adult education must be functional literacy for one to be able to function. Then today, when you get to our people and say, come and start something, you say, no capital. Who told you no capital? You are taking a 100,000 naira salary. It's enough to have a capital. How do they do it in China? That 100,000, you take 25,000, buy what to eat for 1 week in your house. The 75,000 naira, just make a cage to have pure water, sell pure water. Before the end of that week, then you take another 25,000 naira, buy food, continue with the selling of pure water. At the end of the month, that 100,000 naira must have generated 2,000.
Is it that easy? I mean, if it's that easy, a lot of people will go into that production. But how effective has this program been? Because you said that you are trying to reset the mindset of the people.
Mindset.
Are you involving, the parents or the rulers and all that? Because for you to be able to have a mindset. To reset their mind, you need to involve the community. Are you doing that?
Now, what we are planning, because I'm just new, but with the experience I have, we have state agencies for mass literacy. If these state agencies for mass literacy are fully trained, then they are our pegs in different places. And that's the reason why we have the community learning centers, where we involve the community to own the program. Then we teach them how to manipulate things and make the thinking redirected towards having a functional literacy in our society.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Prof. Let me get back to Comrade. Now, in practical terms, Comrade, what innovative models, perhaps since you work a lot with the radio, through radio is most effective on the ground in terms of, reaching these out-of-school children?
Okay, let me firstly appreciate the Honorable Minister for actually identifying with ACSITE because of what we do and because of our model. Our model is a triangular bottom-top approach. This is a triangle, right? The policy comes from the top, but the emphasis is on the ground because these people are right in here. Now, this bottom-top approach, like Prof said, firstly, community engagement is one of our model. Identification and registration. Secondly, is profiling. Now, you get to a community. You don't just get to a community. You must meet a village herd or a religious leader who is in charge of that community. Like my friend and brother here said, the spokesperson for Almajiri, I was privileged to be in the team that went to see the Ooni of Ife, the Oba of Lagos, the Aloja, and the likes of others. It was a wonderful engagement. You know why? Because they were impressed. They own this thing. When you talk to them, they take ownership. They have their influence. The religious leaders who either belong to one sect. You're either a traditionalist, the chief talks to you. You are either religious on the side, the pastor or the reverend or the father talks to you, or the reverend fathers or the pastors speaks to you. And we saw them all from the apex. The Khan chairman, in the state chairman, Muslim in those other side, Christians on this other side, and all of that, because they have a great role here to play. The local influencers, the national influencers, the youth leaders, the market women. When you speak to them, they have a value chain of a multitude of people to speak to. Now, when you speak to these people, they have a whole lot of people either in that own small cocoon or community to speak to. When you use this, so advocacy to speak into these people is a very great tool. Now, let me say it again here. When the Honorable Minister of State came in, Honorable Minister of Education came in, he introduced a NESRIA 6-pillar model. And the NESRIA 6-pillar model speaks gloriously to what we are looking at generally in the new education model. Now, what is it? STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medical as medicine. Now, when you give these people opportunity, some were given the Nelfon loans, opportunity for scholarship, so that technology will be driven, encourage people to go to schools. The next is what? The TVET, Technical, Vocational, and Engineering Training Education. Between when he came in, they've enrolled well over approximately 2-point-something million people. Now, in the federal science colleges, federal technical colleges, they've enrolled well over 150,000 people within the shortest possible time he came. Because he said, when you give opportunity for people to learn skill, be innovative, skill and be what do you call, ability to think, creativity, it helps. Then the next point is the girl-child education. Now, how is the girl child going to have more access, opportunity, equity in schools? Then the next step, very important, is data and digitization. It is very key. Don't forget, too, that oftentimes we depend on UNICEF for our data, right? Now, in the dashboard of Almajiri and the dashboard of MNEC, they had real-time information. I remember when we went to the field, firstly we were informed, okay, we can take pictures, and all of a sudden, now say, no, you must use GPS photo location. So it tells and gives real-time location of where you are and the information you are feeding back. And what do? In data analytics, if you don't have good data and don't analyze well, it falls planning. Right? So in that dashboard and the dashboard of MNEC, this is what they have done. Now, it helps us at the grassroots. Then the next point, again, is teacher training or quality assurance or quality education, teacher development, and alignment of our curriculum. Those are the 6 pillars the Honorable Minister has brought on board. You know, there have been every state tries to run along with his or their own curriculum. But I say, no, there must be an alignment of curriculum. There must be teacher development and training. Do you give what you don't have? No, of course, you only give what you have. And the world is evolving. And because the world is evolving, the teacher needs to be trained and retrained to be able to pass such knowledge downward. Today we are talking of AI. Some children call AI today, don't teach them, they'll be looking at what is AI. You know, so let's move with the world so that the world doesn't leave us behind. So we have identified these tools of communicating this, because now at the state level we have our state coordinators. At the local government, we have local government desk officers. Within the wards, within the well over 120 units, polling units, they are not just there for electoral purposes. We want to make use of them by bringing what we call the local ambassadors, who will be the chiefs, who will be people, they are themselves there. Our local government desk officer will identify them. Now, there could be those local chiefs, the women, the youth leaders, the religious leaders, the traditional leaders. They could speak to their own. And once that psychology of relieving you and knowing the importance of education comes, it begins to encourage people naturally to want to go into school. Now, what is your challenge? Your challenge is identification or location of a school within reach. The next step we're talking at, how are we going to incentivize them? How are we going to encourage them, just like a bait, to lure them to come to school, the school feeding project? And I tell you frankly, too, that the Honorable Minister has graciously given aside or identified or has asked aside. We have members representing us at Almajiri Commission, NMEC, NCNE, the school feeding, and other private school initiatives. To do what? To support privates, to support people whose economic whatever may not be too high. So the government can support such people in those local areas where those schools exist. Those are all opportunities or avenues to bring people in. But of course, there must be an understanding, communication, and communication. And communication varies. The local languages that you speak is like you speaking to me now. I have confidence in you because you are with me. Of course, I will go with you. If not for today, he is going. Tomorrow, my mindset will change. And what I'm talking about, the school is just within reach, not too far away from here. So it's a giant stride, and we are the drivers of this very beautiful initiative. We have seen very often that government policies, to a reasonable extent, some of them end within the state level. And we said no. That's why our approach, like I said, a triangular bottom-top approach. It comes there. We have drivers in the 36 states of Nigeria and FCT that would take it down. And with the data collection that I have stated here, which is very key.
Even to hard to reach communities?
Yes, hard to reach communities. That's why I said. Now, like we have approximately 120 electoral wards. Now, is it not there for the politicians? No, we want to take advantage of them by bringing in what we call the local ambassadors, educational ambassadors. Who are there? They are people settled there, living there, owning their own, being there to speak to themselves. Then in the well over 9,500 wards, we have our local government desk officers. This policy comes straight down. Now, the school I was telling you of, I went to the school, it's 7 years. You'll be shocked that the state, the SUBEB chair in that school might not be aware of what is happening there. So it will now help the SUBEB, whatever, in those locations. It's okay, we have identified the school in this location. This is the current state. Of course, when there's a Google location to tell the state, this is the current state, of course you'll do something. But when it is not done, of course we bring it to the fore of our guys at the top, our guys at ENEC, and our guys at, to say, this is the current state of this. And of course, they came out on the 69th National Council of Education meeting to harmonize. Commissioners were there. Permanent secretaries of education were there, directors were there. These are all steps to see that they all align their agenda towards a new era of education.
Now, I've been thinking,
yes,
because one more thing that creates this gulf is mistrust. And I'm going to ask Nura, what is the relationship between your commission as a government agency and the traditional Almajiri schools? You had said earlier that you've been trying to get the schools that are built. That shows there's some, friction somewhere. How do you relate with them, so as to do your work and achieve what you are supposed to achieve?
Well, absolutely, we can't say there's any friction at the moment, but we know a system that has been on for a very long time, over a century in this part of the world. There is the need for us to carry out a massive advocacy. As I said earlier on, we've been trying to see how it would relate with the different stakeholders, particularly those who are the drivers of the Almajiri system of education in different parts of the country. As Oman Dave said, we embarked on an advocacy. It's a pilot program in 7 states of the Federation: Lagos, Cross River, Ogun, Kano, Jigawa, Yobe, and Borno states. Our intention is to crisscross these states, go to nooks and crannies of these states, and meet with the different stakeholders, traditional rulers, religious leaders, the parents themselves, civil society organizations, everyone that is a stakeholder in education. Let's see how this problem would be solved. Let's see how the Almajiri system of education that is confronted with a lot of challenges would be reformed. Let's see how the millions of Nigerian children roaming the streets of this country, usurping the front spaces of people's houses, begging for alms and the rest, how that would be stopped and the system is reformed. As I said at the outset, we visited the revered Sheikh Dahiru Usman Bauchi. We're all aware of how influential this man is, especially when it comes to issues having to do with this Angaya. He is the leader of the Tijaniya movement, and those in the Tijaniya sect are those who most of whom are into this Al-Majiri system of education. And he publicly, during our courtesy call on him in Bauchi, endorsed even the infusion of Western education into the curriculum of Al-Majiri, which hitherto was not even an issue to be discussed because of the strong aversion, if you like, they have for Western education. And we also visited the Sheikh Balalo in here in Abuja. We visited Sani Hayajingir, Sheikh Sani Hayajingir in Jos, and other prominent Islamic scholars. And little by little, we are making them understand the fact that there is the need for us to reform this system of education. There's a need for us to ensure that children return to school, children go to school, those who have never been to school. There's a need for parents. We're meeting the different stakeholders in this ward-to-ward visits. I told you that we have piloted the program in 7 states, and we hope to replicate it in the different parts of the country, all states of the federation. At the moment, some of the states have completed their ward-to-ward visits. You know what it means, visiting every ward of this country. Oman Dave was part of the Cross River delegation, and they did a wonderful job. They have also completed their assignment, moving from one ward to another to talk to the different stakeholders, to talk to the parents, to talk to market women, to talk to artisans. Let them understand the need for us to have these children go to school and understand the dangers of they are not going to school, and for the Al-Majiri system of education to see how the system will be reformed. Begging should not be allowed. Okay. Children appearing in tattered clothes and moving from place to place, holding balls, in their very small hands, to seek arms.
All right. Okay, Nora, thank you so much. We have some questions and comments from some of our viewers, and which would like you to respond to. First, this one says, "Good morning, NTA and the guest. Thank you for bringing up this topic. May I use this opportunity to call the attention of the federal government to the Al-Majiri model school built across different locations in some northern states during President Jonathan era, but unfortunately were never being put to use. I'm from Kogi State, and we have 2 of such structures in my federal constituency alone, each set to cost about 1 billion naira. I often feel like weeping seeing the weed invaded and now vandalized Kakasi structures. Yet we are lamenting inadequate structure. I'm appealing to the relevant authorities to take necessary actions to address this ugly trend of wastage. I'm sure many of these facilities were under similar conditions across the country." This from Comrade Abdurazak Abdulkadri from Yagba East, Kogi State. May just note that so that you can respond to that. Then this one is from Yusuf Abdul Zaria. He said, "Tackling out-of-school children empower local governments, local focus, tailored interventions to individual local government needs, data-driven action, collect accurate enrollment data to identify gaps, autonomy and funding grants, this is just reeling out some of the solutions that are probable for this tackling the problem." This says, "Good morning, Nigeria. This topic is quite apt and emotional, enough of lamentation. Solution to the issues are as follows: heavy sensitization to would-be parents to have children they can adequately take care of by working with PHC that's the primary health care medical personnel, to educate on birth control. Give a stiffer penalty for parents not to send words to school. Subnational should, in conjunction with LG, build school in almost every ward, working distance to pupils. Free uniform, free books should be given to the pupils. For the Almajiri, the Commission should take statistics of Almajiri, rebuild small school for them, and employ competent teachers, and infuse regular curriculum for Arabic education. Most of them are very intelligent, so formalize their environment. Give incentives to the Quranic Malam, train them for vocational, for those who can go through, and reignite nomadic education. Community leaders should be involved. God bless Nigeria. Prof, you want to respond to some of these comments?
Yes.
Before we come back to Nura.
Yes, what they sent us here is really emotional. And from experience, there is a way out. Let's go back to the lane of history. When I was a commissioner in Sokoto State, in fact, the schools he was referring to built during Jonathan, I can say I'm the grandfather of those schools. When I was a commissioner, we went to a village together with the governor. The Almajiri boys following us, shouting, say Alu, say Alu, say Alu.
What's that?
I mean, Alu is the name of the governor. Then,
okay.
Then when they are saying say Alu, they are telling them exactly. And I told him, sir, these boys you see, they will be the people that will prevent us from entering paradise. He said, why? I said, because what you are collecting from Abuja, they have a share. They have no food, no place to sleep, no toilet, nothing. He said, yes. What do we do? I say, we establish a school for them where we teach them their Quran, we teach them modern subjects, then we teach them skills. Should, in case they drop out, at least they will go back to their villages and become tailors. He agreed. Then we established a school. Modern school, well built. We provide them with food, blankets, mattresses, everything. Then we design a program for them. In the evening or early morning, Quranic education. In the afternoon, modern education.
Formal education.
Some of them have graduated, while many are now in the university and colleges of education. And those that withdrawn from the program, already they have been taught how to repair handsets, how to become tailors. They went back to their villages and become self-employed. So we only built one school then. Then it was the model when Professor Rukaya was a minister. She asked us to bring the blueprint of our school. Then that's the emergence of these schools. So when these schools were built, in fact, I don't know of other states. By the time they completed the schools, I was the SUBEB chairman of Sokoto State. I took over the school. So in the process, we got Almajiri boys. Because of the way the schools were built, big men started coming to get their children in that school. I said, no, this school is for Almajiri, and it is the Almajiri boys that will be the beneficiaries of this. But after my time, I didn't know what was happening. But at least I know one in my own village that has not been used even for one day. Wow. So what I am suggesting, since my brother here and I know his Oga is someone very serious and passionate about this, definitely things are going to take place. But the issue is we need to involve community in the handling of this.
Okay.
It's just like what you said before. We have a community in Edo State, Igara, in Edo, something local government. Our community learning center is now handled by that community. Let me see what they sent to me yesterday. Very interesting. They handle the school and the program. Everything go. Now see this.
No, read. Okay.
Okay,
It's a picture. It's a community of that place.
Is this something that the camera can pick?
It's just a picture.
Yes, when you see it, you see the cross section of the people there. Yeah. The Muslims, the Christians, male and female. They own the school. They arrange a program for themselves where they teach their people how to make soap, how to do this functional literacy. So what is there? The most important thing is, as far as we are concerned, we are going to involve community. At least the government will do its own part. The community will be mobilized to own these centers so that no matter how, they will continue to benefit from it.
Besides the community, what about the NGOs and others?
The NGOs are really doing well. When, as we are going now, at least 30% of our program are being handled by the NGO. So we are really directing these issues to the community, NGO, and the government, so that the three can come together and make a headway.
All right. Thank you very much.
Before you reel out yours, maybe you can respond to the Al-Majri's...
I think we should go on break first, so that when we return...
No, we still have 3 minutes.
We have
so
2 minutes.
Before, when we come back, you reel out, then you can respond.
Okay.
The Al-Majri comments.
Yes, as I said earlier on, we, of course, first of all, have to say well done to former President Goodluck Jonathan, who felt the Al-Majri system of education had to be reformed, and the Al-Majri should be given a befitting learning environment to learn the Quran and other subjects, and of course acquire skills. About 157 of them were built in different parts of the country. I remember when my boss assumed duty last year, we visited some of those schools. One was in Sokoto State.
But the question is, they're not serving the purpose for which they were built.
Yes,
so what is happening?
yes. Our commission is new. We have just come on board.
Okay.
And, a lot of engagements, really. Part of them is trying to see how we'll take possession of these schools. We have kick-started the process, and some of the lands have even been encroached. So we're trying to see, it's a long process, really. We're trying to see how we'll acquire, take possession of those properties, of those lands, so that more, the schools will be renovated and they're put to good use.
So you're on the recovery process now?
Absolutely.
All right. Victor?
All right, let's take a break so that when we return, the program continues. This is Good Morning Nigeria.
You have no better friend and partner than Nigeria. Let this unveiling today
This is still Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA, and we have been discussing how to tackle out-of-school children in Nigeria. Now let's take some of the messages that we received in the course of the conversation. Good morning, this one reads, the government should bring back the feeding program introduced by the federal government to tackle out-of-school children. And that's from Yosui Bernard, Wanune Taka, local government of Benue State. Another one from Chikedim in Warri Delta State. Out-of-school children is a serious concern in Nigeria, especially in the northern region, where there is huge number of Almajiri children loitering aimlessly in the streets. The current administration under President Tinubu is working to address this issue through initiatives like NELFund, which provides loans to students in higher institutions. Some state governments, like Anambra, are also taking steps to make education more accessible by offering free education from primary to secondary level in public schools. Another reads, tackling the issue of out-of-school children requires a multifaceted approach that addresses underlying causes and creates access to economic constraints and provides financial support, such as scholarships or stipends for families. All right, he goes on to list some of his views on how the issues can be tackled, which we can't take all of them indeed. Thank you very much. And from Mohammed Onotu Abdul Ganiu from Apapa, good morning to you all in the studio. This is another important topic again. I must say you can only tackle out-of-school children's education if the government is bold to call a spade and the people are given proper orientation by those who mislead them. There is a saying that those looking for free things get nothing. Several institutions have been created in the past to address the same issue to no avail. So changing nomenclature will not solve the problem, but an opportunity to exploit the center. All right, thank you very much, Onotu. And from Ahmed Babadikwa from Maiduguri, tackling out-of-school children in northern Nigeria requires a multi-pronged approach that addresses the root causes. Key priorities should include community engagement, economic support, flexible learning, improving school safety and quality. Success depends on a coordinated long-term effort from government, communities, and NGOs. Another one from Abdul Ibrahim in Lafia. In what practical ways can communities and individuals contribute to bringing out-of-school children back into classrooms? Is the one in Lafia functional? Well, I guess Dave will be able to respond later. And good morning to you all. I'm so excited to be part of this program. I'm a primary classroom teacher here in Jigawa State. Being a teacher, my observation is that government must intervene 100% to give maximum support to the education sector. Secondly, parents must join hands to give courage and motivation to their children. This one reads from Stephanie, by the way, from Enugu. Concerning the feeding program, one of the speakers talked about the program as not being functional anymore. What are they doing to bring that program back to action? And finally, from Omololu BA, my question is, does the Almajiri Commission and ISMEC, I didn't quite get that, I think NMEC, it means, have any intervention for those children in the orphanage homes at all? If yes, please elaborate. If no, tell us why. So perhaps we start with the last, if it's something you can respond to, Nura.
Yes, we are exploring all the avenues to ensure that children who do not go to school are enrolled in school. Those who have dropped out of school return to school. The Almajiri system of education is reformed to eliminate all the social vices that are unfortunately associated with it. The orphanage homes, really, we're considering seeing how we will extend our intervention to them, even though at the moment I think most of the orphanage homes are owned by private individuals and they have some kind of support. So it's not out of place. We are also trying to explore ways of extending the support that's coming from government. And this,
have the means.
Yeah, I was about to say that when you interjected, the government alone can't do the whole of this. Everyone should be a stakeholder. We have philanthropists, we have business establishments, we have very rich people who, of course, don't even know what to do with money. if we don't take care of these children, believe me, there will be a problem to us. People have been saying time bomb, and I think the bomb has exploded already, and we are all in it. If you have the wherewithal to take your children to school, send them abroad, who will they come back to stay with? Are they going to stay abroad forever? So I think we have to have a kind of change of mindset. Let's own this particular issue. Believe me, if we all come together to rescue these children, government may not even have to have a hand in it. We, the people, have the wherewithal to do this. If you go to the different parts of the country, go to the different streets we have, you find very influential people, you find very rich people whose children go to school, and you have a neighbor whose children do not go to school, and those children are the ones that become a problem, and they're holding everyone to ransom.
You're reaching out to this well-to-do.
Yes, absolutely. We have kick-started that, and inshallah, in no longer time, you'll begin to see
okay, Dave,
the positive
you want to
results.
respond to some of these comments?
Particularly the one that talks about communities and all of those.
Well, what I've discovered again is when there's no community engagement, when there's no community ownership, the community looks at it aloof. Because fortunately, I was a communication consultant with BESDA, and opportunities and pilot states were Ondo, Adamawa, and Katsina, the Oak states. And despite the intervention of government to build some of these schools, you still discover that people goes there to vandalize or take some of these things. And because oftentimes maybe we have the SBMC, the community where they reach out to them and all of that. But if they don't take ownership, they look at it as a government thing. They are not interested. So their psychology need to change. The myth about education, what education is, what education can do, need to be talked to, need to be introduced to them. So they take ownership, they own it. And when they own it, they speak to it. They encourage their wards or children to go to schools. Now, very importantly again is, when they don't take ownership, vandalization becomes inevitable, right? Now, but when they take ownership, they look at it, they follow it up, and sometimes too, because they are given opportunity to air, to discuss, to be part of the system of ownership, they take full ownership, then of course progress goes all the way. Okay. Very importantly again, you see, driving this thing to the local areas, sometimes there are some models that aren't working. And I must give it again to the Honorable Minister to say, the NGOs have a role to play because they are scattered all over there. Whereas there are some that are there, they're not here. But the NGOs that are engaging with the people will help to carry out this sensitization. Okay. And once that is done, adequate sensitization. There was something, while we were doing that of Al-Majri the last time, they say, own up a child also. There was one that says, you can take like ownership, I mean, like a child in the community, if you have the wherewithal, then you can now say, okay, whereas the child stays with the mother, you pay the school fees. You take absolute charge of his or her fees. You know. Then secondly, again, we said something about philanthropies and all of that. Now, we are thinking of an approach at the level of ACSIDE. When the program is progressing, these schools are dominated or are sited or located within some Joe zones. It's possible that there could be a factory. It's possible that there could be a company. It's possible that there could be a philanthropist. Can we use CSR to engage them? Now, the CSR is identifying the problem of these institutions or schools around those areas and said, Company A, Company C, this school is located within your area, your location. And these are A, B, C, Ds we have identified. Please take a look at them. All right. We are not saying give us money, but see to how you can engage. It's either borehole, it's either books, it's either laboratory, it's either classroom blocks, it's either renovation. And of course, I tell you frankly, the school will oblige.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dave. We have more comments and questions here. Because of time, we'll quickly reel them out for Prof to respond to. And this one says, good morning to the men in the house this morning. Men hostel today. Well, the women are busy. I'm Stephen John from Ikere in Ekiti State. I was born and schooled in Bauchi State in the early 80s through 90s. We used to have afternoon schooling in the north. Most parents, because of family, won't allow the child to go to morning school. If that can be worked upon now, it will help these children. It's a suggestion. Good morning, Nigeria. I'm glad the key here is the prof who has humanity reside in him. I have a bike man whom I encourage to enroll in literacy school in Karu, Abuja. He's in senior secondary school now. Let every one of us pick one or two depending on your capacity and send to school.
Awesome.
Just like you said, service to humanity is paramount. Sure. That's Alhaji Yusuf. This one says, this one is from Chuku Neme Ifezu from Ojo Local Government, Lagos. He said, thank you, presenter, for this vital topic today. In Ojo areas of Lagos, we have a lot of children in Alaba, Rago, Okokomaiko, where children moves around the bus stop begging money from road users. I think we need to sensitize parents of these children to understand the need for education. Good morning, NTA, from Musa Abubakar. The Commission is really doing excellent with their efforts, and I have no doubt they can succeed with a decade. But where do local governments come in, knowing that their deliberate negligence is responsible for the federal government's taking over their responsibility? As an adult educator, overpopulation is the cause of our marginal and out-of-school children who wander from homes. Solution: produce children you can take care of. That's from Etim. Etim is from Calabar, Cross River State. This finally from Sani, Kaduna. Good morning, presenters, Professor Musa and Dave and Nura have analyzed all. Poverty is the issue. Give the children food, they will come to school. All right, Prof, in less than 3 minutes.
So, based on one of the issues sent by one of the speakers, in the current strategic mapping we've done, and we will continue to do, is to extend our services to the orphanage home, where we have people that are being produced, getting prepared to come to the larger society. So we will get to their places, get them literate in literal sense and also in functional literacy. The center is being extended to the prison environment where where people are there, and some staying for years, coming out without having any direction to go. So we want to be there to start doing the needful, so that by the time they graduate from their service there, then we are making arrangement to have functional starters for them. For example, now someone has been taught how to become a good tailor. On discharge, he will be given a machine and other materials that he will go and even some money to go and find a shop to start making his life functional.
But is this in collaboration with the Nigerian Correctional Service? Because these things already exist.
Exactly. So we are trying to improve upon it. Okay. So the issue, someone raised the issue of funding. Definitely, if you look at the number of people in Nigeria, if we rely on government to do everything, it will not be possible. So we are now making links with our friends out of this country, that we are making links with those that are interested, individuals and NGOs that are interested in giving assistance for the development of humanity in the global environment. So if this is actualized, then the government will be notified and follow the due process of getting the assistance from the external environment.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. Let me quickly get to Dave as we wind down this conversation. How do you make education more relatable to children in marginalized communities so that they see the need for them to get education for their own future good? In 2 minutes, please.
Okay, it's, you see, I know in this, the National Council of Education meeting, the 68th Council meeting, they cancelled the use of mother tongue. Well, it's okay, but you see, communication too is a problem.
You don't seem to agree.
Well, you see, in China, you know, you could speak. You know, sometimes I want to speak. I may be held back, you know. Now, okay, let's take, for instance, in journalism. I'm at a location and something happened there and I want to report because I can't speak English. English becomes a barrier. It's very possible that I may speak, but I may not give the direct representation or accurate representation of what happened. Possibly there are things in English I may not know how to call or know. But if it's my language, I'll be fluent, I'll be free, and I'll communicate as well. Take, for instance, teaching me physics. And you're teaching me physics, and I understand the dynamics of physics and everything, representing it in my mother tongue. He understands it easier. So he communicates in his own language. But having said that, I'm not against it. I mean, the government may have seen all of those truths and all of that. But if it can be broken down, you know, there are teachers that can demonstrate. I had one in my secondary school days. He was a literature teacher. He was so dramatic. Sometimes he wants to represent a car. He could even squat. You know, he wants to represent a bird. He will fly. He will begin to wave his. Just give you that imagination of a bird. So when teachers are taught, it boils down to teacher training on the models, the methodology of teacher training. It has differed. It has changed because of evolving times. The models of teaching cannot continue with, we can't continue with what we were teaching yesterday. I have these general terms I'm going to summarize by saying. We can't continue to say the same old thing and expect a different result. Mm-hmm. We must move with the time. We must move with the trend to attain what we need to get.
Yeah, what would be your message, for instance, to Nigerians who believe that the out-of-school thing is too big to fix?
Yeah, it's absolutely a very big issue, really, but the challenges are indisputably surmountable. I would want to comment on a contribution made by one of the viewers. Yes, yeah, he talked about the issue of educating the Almajiri, that the Almajiri are pretty intelligent, and if they would be shown the way, they will become very responsible citizens. And this is part of the initiatives of the Executive Secretary and CEO of the National Commission for Almajiri Out-of-School Children's Education. At the moment, we have the Tinubu Legacy Skills Training Institute in Kaduna. We have another one in Ibadan. The Kaduna Institute has graduated about 200 Almajiri. We went to nooks and crannies of this country to identify memorizers of the Quran. They underwent a 9-month course, and they now have a good knowledge of English language. They speak English fluently within just 3 months because of their IQ. If someone would be able to memorize a book as voluminous as the Quran, then the person should be able to become a medical doctor. The person should be able to be a good journalist like you. The person should be able to be an ICT expert. So they have been exposed to different skills. They now design websites, within just 9 months. The Almajiri, they speak Arabic fluently, and this began just 3 months into the training. So that is they have acquired skills in installation of POP, into tiling, right. and so many other. And the Kaduna and the
just in 30 seconds, give us your own parting shots.
Yes, the issue is a simple one. With determination, and it's just something that the Nigerians will just fold arms and see the government to be responsible for everything. Each and every one of us must come and put his hands so that we lift the problem together and throw it away.
How do you measure and make successes Any real indicators for measuring success of your interventions?
Yes, there are indicators, because even what I showed you from Edo State is a measurement yardstick for our success. When the community can decide on their own to train more than 300 people in different trades.
All right, that shows that the community is getting involved.
Yes.
Professor Musa Garba Tafsir, Executive Secretary, National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Non-Formal Education, NMEC. We thank you very much for your time and for your thoughts.
Thank you.
Let me also thank Comrade Omang Dave, team lead of Edu Radio, an alliance of civil society for sustainable, inclusive and transformative education. Regional Coordinator for South-South Forum, we thank you very much for being a part of this conversation.
My pleasure.
And finally, but by no means the least, Noura Mohammed, who is Head Social Mobilization and Outreach, is also spokesman, National Commission for Al-Majri and Out-of-School Children Education. Many thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
And that's Good Morning Nigeria. We thank you very much for watching and being a part of it. We'll see you again tomorrow, and we hope you do join us. I am Victor Azu. Bye-bye.
Namadi Maladi, do have a lovely day.